Hello, you dirty potters. How are you today? Welcome to another episode of Glaze Review, where I take glazes off the shelf, I glaze them for you on white clay, brown clay, red clay, and do a little bit of testing before you even get it into your hands. In today's video, we are testing Pink Opal from the Mayco company. Before we get this video started, most pinks are usually some type of tin chrome red type beat, so it's really difficult to find one that I enjoy, considering that most tin chrome reds end up turning some type of high purple or some light pink verging on red, and it's really difficult to find one that is an actual true red. But this one here seems to have just the right amount of pink / purple that I like. Plus, you look right there, you see those little tiny little knot crystals right there? That's what I want. I want those. Before we get this video started, let's talk about what we'll be glazing today. This here is a B mixed with grog stoneware clay body. We're going to be testing it on this and just pouring it straight on while leaving a good portion of this a bit raw. Of course, as is standard on the channel, we're also going to be using a red / brown clay body. This one's a bit different because it is a mixed clay body. It is mixed with B mixed with grog. The real special treat I have for you today is that Mayco has recently sent me quite a bit of their new clay milk chocolate from the chocolate line. They came out with 3 new clay bodies, links will be down below, and I have a couple of extras that I've been playing with for quite some time. This one here is a bisque milk chocolate clay body from Mayco, and these two here are the same thing. I've already glazed the inside of these with a little something. Don't ask about it. Don't even ask, we're just gonna glaze the outside. I also have a duplicate of this because this is going to serve as our pouring and our brushing test tile.
Oh, but Dante, we don't get a white brushing test style? We don't get a test style that's white that you can brush? We're just gonna use a dark clay body?
Okay, alright, people who are way too into white clay bodies, and then you wonder how I'm getting good color on darker clay bodies. Here, we can also brush a white B mixed with grog bowl. One of these has to be a combination. We need to know what happens when we mix up some black and pink. I don't think I've ever done that before on this channel, and I need to know. But here's the thing, we have to do this wisely, right? So here's our red clay test style. Here's our Mayco milk chocolate test style, right? And these are both essentially poured. Here's our white B mixed with grog test style. So we kind of can't touch these. These are base. These are essentially black or super dark clay, red clay, and white clay. These are based, right? This one here is poured on. I put a little dot in there. So I poured this glaze on. This is milk chocolate from Mayco as well. And then I brushed this one on. This is 3 coats brushed on of milk chocolate as well. This is the white one that's brushed on. So this logically is the one that I think I can mess with a little bit. So we're going to dip this in Ron Roy's High Gloss Black because this is our comparison test. These are our base tests. So we don't have any choice but to use this. I'm so sorry, brushers out there. You are getting the short end of the stick today. Get out the bucket. We're just gonna give this the old Remy Neutron for about 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. About a 4-second dip on top of 3 layers on B mixed with grog. This should be interesting. Although if this one comes out really good, I'll be kind of mad because I should have done this combo with all of them. But at least from this point on, we'll know that a good high gloss black goes pretty well with this glaze. Okay, and as we usually do, let's talk about what we're putting inside the Cone 6 oxidation kiln before we actively put it in. These two are our most standardized test. This is our B mix with grog stoneware clay body, and this is our redstone clay body. These have both been poured on as we usually do in the channel. You know, if you've been a long time watcher of this channel, I'm a big supporter in pouring things on, and I've had multiple videos and as why I pour things on instead of brush them on, including it takes much less time, I get a much more even coat, I don't get brush strokes. This one here is a partly glazed clay body. This is Mayco's milk chocolate. We're gonna see how this reacts today. I'm gonna be very surprised if this comes out completely different from this. I know things like Lynette's Opal comes out way better on darker clay than it does on white clay, and I feel like not a lot of people run into that because they think brown clay is yucky for some reason, but I love darker clay bodies and bodies in general. So I think that this has a good chance of coming out much more delicious than it does on this. Yeah, I can use delicious as a describer. Don't judge me. These two are a little interesting because this one here with the little black dot inside of it, because this one here is a poured on version of the Mayco glaze, but it has that little dot in it so that we know it's poured on. The inside surrounding it, don't worry about that. That's a Hail Mary glaze. It's probably not going to come out good. I developed it in like 10 minutes. Don't even worry about it. The outside interaction in between the milk chocolate clay body and the glaze is what really matters. This one here is the same, except for the outside portion is 3 layers brushed on. So these two are going to be our comparison test in between the poured and the brushed. And of course, we have the one you just saw me do, which is 3 layers brushed on B mixed with grog and a little combo Remy rim with high gloss black. These are our testers. These are all going to be fired at Cone 6 oxidation. And with that being said, let's put them in the kiln. Okay, now that everything's out of the kiln, let's take a look. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna try to be excited about this, but I want you to know throughout the video, I am not excited about this. Because I've used things like Lunar Pink from Mayco and Berry Blush from Clayscapes, and I've gotten a couple samples and bottles and packages from them, I have pretty high expectations for a tin chrome pink or a tin chrome red type glaze, which I do think this pink opal glaze from Mayco is in the family of. It's just a theory. I have no contracts with them to say this is true or not. But I want you to know I'm gonna try to be excited about this. This is pink opal poured on a dragon fruit clay body. Okay, so the good news is it did turn pink. It did turn the color it promised on the bottle. The bad news is I don't think, and you'll see this all throughout the review, that this is developed enough. Mayco has this thing that I've noticed, which sent me on a trip for a while, that on the back of their bottle it says a lot of their glazes work in between cone 5 and 10. The company's job is to make the glaze look good. So if some of them work better at cone 7, then they're going to show that. Some work better at cone 10, they're going to show that. I do know, however, that I was expecting a much lighter and more, I guess, tin-ish pink from this, and it's just not what I'm getting. This is echoed when we talk about our pouring and brushing glaze on the dark chocolate clay bodies from Mayco, those new clay bodies we've been reviewing on the channel. Don't look on the inside. Please, don't. It's trash. Please don't look. Remember, I put a little dot to designate which one is which, and I truly can't tell the difference. If you were to brush this on or pour this on, I think if you saw these two at a table, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. I can technically see that the one that's poured on has a bit better color and mimics what is on the bottle a little bit better than what I thought the brushed on one would look like. I didn't think there was a big difference, but if I were to take one of these two glazes, I want this one, I don't want this one. I'm telling you guys, I'm just spoiled. At this point, I'm just spoiled by tin chrome reds. This is not a glaze issue. There's nothing wrong with the glaze. This is purely a Dante has been spoiled by glaze company's issue. Now, if you look really closely, this is kind of the color that I wanted. This is the dark chocolate clay body from Mayco, and we kind of dipped this and then gave it the old rim on the top, and this is beautiful. This is what I want every single time from this clay body. Fortunately, because Mayco glazes have such a wide cone range, it doesn't move. It's a really stable glaze. It didn't run on any of these pieces, and I took it to the toes every single time. To the toes on that one, took it to the toes on that one. Okay, not that one. That one was a dry bottom. That one needs a bidet because it has a dry bottom. And you can very clearly see where the line stopped right there. Right? So this is not a runny glaze if you run it at cone 6. Although I do think I would have gotten a much tastier melt from the glaze itself if I took it up to cone 7 or even 8. There is one thing I want to note, and this has been a thing since I've learned to make glazes. One of the very first glazes I decided to make a 5-gallon batch of was Old Forge's, I think it was June Perry Pink. It's a tin chrome red glaze, or tin chrome pink glaze, rather, much like this one. Well, I learned a long time ago, because I work with brown and white clay, that if you put tin chrome glazes on red stone or brown clay, they often turn gray, and that is true for this one here as well. This is the mixed clay body that we had earlier. This is a redstone clay body or some type of recycled clay body mixed with grog. And so before we dipped this, you kind of saw it was whitish and brownish in some spots. And so you can see all of the spots that had a redstone or brown clay body turn them gray. And you can even see through to the clay body to that marbleized clay.
Oh my god, it came out pink. I love it so much. I go,
What? Why? This is hands down one of the reasons why I do not like tin chrome glazes in general. I like a versatile glaze that can mix with other glazes and work on white and brown clay. If they have standard, they turn out the same as they do on white clay as on brown clay, I love them. If they turn out better on white clay than on brown clay, but they still have a good color palette, they're great. I don't like glazes that turn gray if you introduce a different clay body to them. And that is mainly the reason why I'm such a tin chrome hater. But I will say that this is a very good melt. I believe we poured this one on and it got a fantastic melt as per those pinks. It's a little more purple than pink, but I'll take it. The last one is Mayco's Pink Opal with Ron Roy's High Gloss Black on the top with a dragon fruit clay body.
This is not a banger. This is not a banger. And I know bangers. I know bangers.
That didn't really react whatsoever. It's too stable. It didn't melt anywhere. I don't hate it, but I don't like it. Well, thank you, Dirty Potters, for joining me today for the review of Pink Opal from the Mayco company. You know, I do think if there's anything to take away from this glaze, that you might like this glaze, absolutely. But I have been spoiled by Lunar Pink from Mayco and Berry Blush from Clayscapes, and I personally think that Mayco has such a large cone range that if you're firing to something like cone 8 because you're like from Australia or something, or you're firing to something like cone 10 because you're using a gas kiln, or even a cone 10 electric kiln, I think this glaze would do much better work for you than it has done for me. I personally do not think this is a glaze that you will get a lot of melty tastiness out of just firing it to regular old cone 6. And I did, in fact, for those of you who are, I did actually put an Orton cone in there so I can make sure it fired directly to cone 6. And it actually did fire a little bit over cone 6. I'm pretty happy with this. This is my usual amount of heat work that I get in my kiln. But even at a little over cone 6, personally, I think you could fire it a little bit hotter, and I also think that there are better tin chrome pink based glazes out there. We've reviewed them on the channel before, and I think you would get more bang for your buck, and you would also get something that is formulated to fire and be fully fired at cone 6 if you bought one of those glazes. I know I hate saying this because generally speaking, and take it with a grain of salt, because let it be known, I am a tin chrome red hater, but because I'm a tin chrome red hater, I have really high standards for the tin chrome reds that I do like. There are very few of them, and this is a very normal reaction for tin chrome red, and I'm looking for something better than this personally. I'll have you guys know that most of these reviews are subscriber based, so every time you click the like button and every time you comment down below, I pick up a glaze that you suggest and I try and review it. And because of that, companies don't have sway over me in how much I like or dislike a glaze. So every time I do a glaze review for you, you're getting my honest opinion. And this is one of the few times that I can honestly say, without a contract, without being paid, anything like that, I personally think you could find a better tin chrome red that matures at the proper temperature that it ought to mature at, instead of having such a wide cone range. I think you could find one that's even developed for cone 7 instead of 5 through 10, and you would get better development out of this glaze than firing something that might be meant for cone 10 on the bottle, but you fired it to cone 5
This
or
is
6.
not a banger.
Personal opinion. Good luck on your next art projects. Remember to click all those YouTube buttons, and I will see you, Dirty Potters, next week.
Thank you for your patronage.